This Saturday night on pay-per-view, Impact Wrestling presents one of the most eagerly anticipated events of the new year, Hard to Kill. Careers will be in jeopardy. World championships will be on the line. New Knockouts tag team champions will be crowned. And personal feuds will be settled, some with blood and barbed wire. But tonight, we focus on the main event, the historic six-man tag team battle that has the wrestling world abuzz. Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns will go to war with the Good Brothers and AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. We take you behind the curtain and give you the revealing stories of the men who engineered the moment that shook the wrestling world. You will hear the bold proclamations from the athletes themselves just days before their historic battle on pay-per-view. And now, welcome to This Is Hard to Kill as Wrestle Week continues on AXS TV.
Tell us why you're here, as if we didn't know.
We're family. Kenny asked me to be here tonight. He said it's the biggest match of his life.
He's always been looking for that magical moment here at AEW.
I'm glad that they made a gentleman's agreement to have a wrestling match, mano a mano, tonight.
Jon Moxley very focused, very pensive right here.
This really is irresistible force meets immovable object.
Flesh on flesh here.
This is taking Omega right out of whatever game plan he had, in my opinion.
Here comes the challenger, Omega up and over.
Paradigm, those heaters.
Where's the doctor?
He's in bad shape.
Don going down to check on Kenny, obviously.
Look at this. Jon Moxley is like livid. Don Callis has the microphone. Oh, good God.
Yeah, there's some impact there.
Don should have stayed away from the ring. He wanted him to stop the match. He said he's hurt.
Wait a minute. Omega's got the mic.
We're family.
Oh, my God.
Right between the eyes.
He knocked him out.
With that microphone.
Kenny Omega and Don Callis are next level consciousness. We don't think in terms of days or weeks or months. We think in terms of years. So the plan for Kenny Omega to be on top of this industry has been 27 years in the making.
About
10 years old.
years, yeah.
Shoulders are down.
New champion.
This has got stink all over it. I think Callis has set this damn thing up. Don Callis has led a screw job here.
Look, I've known Don Callis for 25 years, and there's one thing I know, the wheels are always turning in his head. When he did what he did, that's classic Don Callis. That's what you get when you get the invisible hand in your house.
The plan has been in motion, not for days, not for weeks, not for months, for years. We all knew this was going to come back together. We all knew we'd land in the same place, and we all knew we would take over the wrestling world again. And that was step one.
That sounds a whole lot like an AEW problem, not an Impact problem. So Don helps Kenny Omega win the World Championship. Well, kudos to Kenny. He's got to live with that footnote. Not my problem, not my company.
They're running like scalded dogs here. Callis, what a no-good bastard.
Remorse?
Remorse?
You just said it yourself. It's the way that I won the title. History books will dictate that in the win-loss record, in the win-loss column, it was a W for Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
What does it matter the details?
What emotion is remorse again? I don't feel a lot of human emotions, so it's difficult for me to. That'd be like guilt, I guess? Is that something? That's a thing. People feel guilty.
It sounds more like weakness to be done. For being honest.
Yeah, it's like you're not thoughtful. You're just weak. I mean, the reality is, I've said it before. Real power is not given. Real power is something you take, and that's what we've done. And at the end of the day, everyone gets very worried about living in the past. Oh, I regret what I did, or they worry about the future.
The way Don Callis has obviously been involved in such history-making moments, and Don being there, it just obviously is another Don thing. You know, Don Callis knows what he's doing.
I don't know Don Callis very well, honestly. I don't. I haven't really sat down and had many conversations with him or anything. But as far as I know, he's a nice guy. I saw him eating a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup once.
He's a unique individual, and he's rubbed a lot of people wrong over the years. But the fact is, nobody has ever questioned his intelligence. Don is a guy that I've been happy to call a friend and a co-worker for many, many years, and sometimes I want to wrap my hands around his throat, but there's other times that I just remember that there's a little bit of a mad scientist genius there inside that head of Don's.
Let me ask you a question. Does a man feel remorse for the ant that he steps on his way to the grocery store?
Not me.
No. Look, people like Jon Moxley, people like all of the staff at AEW, all of the staff at Impact Wrestling, all the people that claim to be wrestlers, mere insects compared to what we bring to the table.
I see the entire wrestling industry, the fans, the wrestlers, the office stooges. I see them as all of the insects in that anthill. And then you and I are floating above going, they can't understand what we do.
No.
But you'll read about it in the history books.
Guys, sir, what did you just do? What's going on? What the hell's going on here? Find out this Tuesday night. Tuesday? Dynamite's on Wednesday. This Tuesday, Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Me and Kenny will tell you all about it, Marvez.
Taking advantage of Tony Khan's hospitality.
Taking advantage of Tony Khan? Are you kidding me? Who hasn't taken advantage of Tony Khan? Look at the people who have under contract here in AEW. Jeez, milking that man dry.
My goodness.
If anything, I would feel sorry for Tony. And Tony should be thanking us, quite frankly. Look what we've brought to the table. We've actually moved the needle, for Christ's sakes. Look, all of those hard-earned dollars, Tony. Now they're finally being put towards something that's actually giving back.
Here's the thing, that guys like Tony, Tony is, I think, a very nice human.
I think he's a great
He's a
human
great
being.
guy.
Great
He's
boss.
done a lot. Great boss. He's done a lot for the wrestling business. He's done a lot for the wrestlers.
Ton.
I think it's fantastic. Here's the problem. Guys like Tony, who are super intelligent, 160 IQ, very, very successful, billions of dollars in the bank, what they do is they attract, very much like wood ticks are attracted to warm flesh. Guys like Tony attract leeches on the wrestling business. They attract sycophantic yes men who just tell them whatever they want to hear.
And oh boy, are they sucking him dry.
They are. We could have told Tony Khan about the lesson, but he wouldn't have listened, Kenny, because he thinks he knows everything because of all the yes men telling him he's always right. So we had to show him. So I think at some point in Tony's professional and personal development, he'll look back on that night, Winter is Coming, on Dynamite, and he'll say, I not only was taught, but I lived a very important lesson. And that lesson was, welcome to the wrestling business, young man.
You know, it was definitely a huge moment for professional wrestling once Kenny Omega and Don Callis, they told everybody, hey, you're gonna figure out why we did this on Impact Wrestling on Tuesdays on Access TV. That rang through with all of the professional wrestling community, with the whole industry.
After Kenny won the world title on AEW Dynamite, when Marvez tried to get some comments from Kenny and Don, I have to admit the biggest smile came across my face when I saw Don turn to Marvez and say, you just like everybody else can wait till Tuesday night, Impact Wrestling on Access TV. So it was a great moment for us. It was a historic moment for the pro wrestling industry.
The moment was iconic. I think it'll live forever in the history of professional wrestling, and I think it changed the path again. So you see the hand in motion, so to speak.
I've known this man since he was 10 years old, and I watched him as he became a world-class athlete. I watched him as he became the best wrestler in the world. I was there like an invisible hand.
You see, Kenny and Don Callis, we're family.
You were on Impact Wrestling on Access TV with that belt.
What we do is change history.
All the paradigms are being broken.
Look, I'd be lying if I said that when Kenny Omega came to Impact Wrestling on Access TV for the first time, if I didn't have the biggest smile across my face, because I did. The wrestling world, it was buzzing. That Tuesday night, all eyes were on Impact Wrestling.
Loved it. It was something that we've talked about for a long time. Ever since the Good Brothers started coming to America, being on American wrestling television, we stayed in contact with Kenny, and we always said we wanted to take over whatever American promotion we could. And now being able to have Kenny on Impact, it's just to get those eyes, those Kenny Omega fans' eyes and those old Bullet Club fans' eyes on Impact is something we wanted to do since Slammiversary and something we said we could do.
Seeing Kenny on Impact Wrestling was definitely history-making, life-changing for this industry, just being as though as how high in regard Kenny Omega's held in our industry.
Well, it's something that we had visualized a year ago, and it happened exactly as we visualized it. So when you visualize something and you plan for it a year in advance, when it actually happens, it doesn't become something that shocks you. Success doesn't happen by accident to Kenny Omega and Don Callis. it comes because we think at a different level. So, was I proud? I've been proud of him since he was 10 years old. I was proud of him when he was making $10 working in a bar. It doesn't change that he's the god of pro wrestling now.
Carl, tonight I got you one-on-one. And you know, we're gonna give you a little preview of what it's gonna be like when you lose those tag team titles to us in the future.
You don't talk to the 2012 G1 finalists like that. You get him! Go get him!
Listen. Chris Sabin, starting to dial it up. Handful of tights.
Okay, that's a guard.
And Carl Anderson steals one from Chris Sabin. And there's Rich Swann. There's the world champ.
I'm kind of pissed off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Rich Swann?
I'm not gonna let this guy run around and run the show.
Spoiling the party for Carl Anderson.
He's a champ. He kind of does what he wants sometimes. He's
Yeah.
rich. He's just
Hey,
rich
Don,
being
Don,
rich.
you're right. You're right about one thing.
Yeah.
Champ does what he wants. You talk about next level consciousness, next level thinking. Rich Swann is at the bottom of the barrel. Physically gifted, an athletic genius, a smart man. I wouldn't go that far. No, I don't think he's a smart man, Don.
He's not thinking on our level.
No.
I don't think that they outsmarted us. I think that they just were able to use underhanded tactics that we just weren't ready for.
Beat the teeth like that.
We know we can beat you, but we're also going to outsmart you. You talk about the hand, you talk about Don Callis, you talk about baiting. That's exactly what we did.
I thought that those guys were stand-up guys, and I thought that they were badasses and that they were tough and that they'd take a challenge head on.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, they're a couple steps ahead of us, whatever. If, we can let them think that all they want. They want to think they're a couple steps ahead of us. Well, fine. That means they're not expecting us to be a couple steps ahead of them.
Hey, Rich, this may be your house, yeah? You may be the champion, but as long as you're a wrestler, this is my world, and you're just living in it.
What do you think, Kim?
What do you think, boys?
Yeah.
Hard to kill?
Yeah.
We reformed the old Bullet Club.
Oh, I see 3 of them.
And I see 3 of us. Hard to kill. Yeah, you guys wanted it. We're gonna give it to you.
You know what? I don't like to throw around the old EVP power, but I'm gonna do it right now. Consider this match made. Hard to kill. Rich Swann, the Motor City Machine Guns, against Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, and the Good Brothers, Impact Tag Champions, 3-on-3, hard to kill. That's a main event, kid.
That sounds good to me. Actually sounds kind of sweet. Biz me.
I know that Don Callis likes to say that himself and Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers are always 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann. And Don Callis, as I've said, is certainly at times one of the most intelligent men in professional wrestling. But one of the character flaws that he has sometimes is he's an egomaniac. And he sometimes underestimates his opponents. And when you're talking about Rich Swann and you're talking about the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, these aren't people to take lightly. The fact is, you're in there with 3 of the very best in the world. And if Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers don't bring their A game, then they don't even have a shot at getting the 1, 2, 3.
You know, I think Kenny Omega is one of the most talented professional wrestlers that's ever stepped into our industry. I think he has the potential to be something of like a Ric Flair to this business. Somebody that can go to any company and put on some of the best matches that, you could ever possibly ever see. But when it comes to in-ring ability and pure athleticism and talent, I know that I can match right up there with him.
Obviously Kenny Omega is one of the best in the world. He has such this big following, critics, fans alike, that he's one of the best, if not the best in the world. So I like being able to have a chance to step in the ring with him because I know that I'll be able to test myself. And fun fact, I actually wrestled Kenny Omega in a singles match back in it was like 2006, 2007, 2008, around there. I'm sure he's 20 times, 30 times, 40 times better than he was then, but the thing is, I am too.
I think Kenny Omega is probably our generation's greatest pro wrestler. He's got every accolade to prove it, and you can't argue with it. You can't take that away from him. Those are facts.
I mean, I don't think there's enough time and enough superlatives to describe Kenny Omega as a wrestler, and there's even less time and not enough superlatives to describe Kenny Omega, the next level consciousness human being that he is. You see, there's people in different industries who make ripples, and then there's other people who affect tidal waves. Here's just the facts, and I'll lay it out so that all of the insects can understand. Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world right now. He's the best wrestler of his generation. He's the best wrestler of all time. Number 2 is not close. Let's just be clear. That is how good he is. I don't throw around the term God, but you're the God of pro wrestling. I know you don't like to get put over like that, but it's true.
I accept your gracious compliments very humbly, but I will also add, you talk about the greatest of all time. That's a word that gets thrown out, a term, the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
It gets thrown out there every day on a daily basis.
Yes.
Done. And the thing is, you can toss it out and it becomes a matter of opinion. But I actually have evidence. I actually have proof that suggests that yes, Kenny Omega is perhaps the greatest of all time. I hold so many records and records that will never be broken, that cannot be broken. And I just keep compiling them year after year after year after year. Unless you believe it now, great for you. You chose the winning team. Wait another year. I'll add some more evidence to the table. Wait another year after that, then it becomes irrefutable.
I've known those guys a really long time. I mean, we're talking well over a decade and a half. A decade and a half and change in Carl Anderson's case. I lived in the New Japan Dojo with them, and they're an exceptional tag team, and that's a fact.
Gallus and Anderson, those two, they've proven in other companies that they're the best tag team in the world. They're currently the Impact Tag Team Champions, and I think they're holding their head up high. Now I feel like with their good brother on their side, it's gonna be hard to stop them. It's gonna be hard to take them down, but you know what? I'm willing and up for the challenge.
The Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, are two unbelievable talents. They're two people that have been longtime friends of mine. I've known Carl Anderson since he broke into the wrestling business in Ohio under a mentor of mine, Roger Ruffin. I used to be the talent agent for Doc Gallows. They're two great guys, they're two great talents. It was a huge day when they came here to Impact Wrestling. And when the Good Brothers are around, you know the two things are gonna happen. Good times, and there's gonna be some type of violence.
There are a lot of people that don't think on the level of the average day wrestler. There are people that have bigger dreams than cashing a check, than being able to be in a ring, than being able to perform in front of their fans. There are people just like us out there that are willing to make the sacrifice to change the world. The Good Brothers are people like that.
Experience Impact Wrestling like never before with instant access to all of your favorite episodes of Impact, Explosion, Greatest Matches, Legend, content from promotions around the world, plus live monthly exclusive premium specials and so much more.
This is spectacular! What a match!
The Impact Wrestling app has you covered with Impact Plus, featuring thousands of hours of on-demand action.
This has escalated quickly!
Stream groundbreaking originals.
We are all artists.
Get more exclusive content and experience a new and improved accessibility control and freedom like never before.
This night's just getting started!
Watch free without a subscription and stream Impact Plus anytime on your favorite device. Download the Impact Wrestling app now and experience Impact like never before.
I've had a very long career in professional wrestling. I've been blessed with that. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is the role that I've been able to play in helping young talent develop and get their opportunities. Two individuals that I'll always be among the most proud of are going to be Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. They're two guys that came into the Can-Am Wrestling Dojo many years ago. Very young, very raw, but just so much potential. And to watch how they've developed over the years. The one thing that both of them have in common is one of the greatest characteristics you can have is commitment. And I used to say that the Can-Am Dojo at that time was like a sweat lab because there was so much collaboration going on, and whether it was watching Johnny Saint tapes and bringing in that World of Sport style, whether it was Japanese strong style, whether it was Lucha Libre style, there was such a think tank and a coming together of styles. And I think the people that most perfectly represent that crossbreed of styles is the Motor City Machine Guns. The Motor City Machine Guns are one of the most iconic tag teams in Impact Wrestling history. They're one of the most decorated tag teams in professional wrestling history. Whether it's in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Japan, they're one of the very best that the sport has ever seen. I'm very proud to have them as two people that I call my friends.
The Motor City Machine Guns, their biggest weakness is that they're just a couple of little nerds. They great professional wrestlers? Yeah. Are they smart professional wrestlers? Yeah. Are they legendary Impact professional wrestlers? Yeah. But they're not the Good Brothers, because at the end of the day, the Good Brothers have been everywhere. I mean, they've been all over the world. We've won the tag team championships in New York. We've won the tag team championships in Japan, and we're the tag team champions here in Impact. The Motor City Machine Guns' biggest weakness is that they're not us.
You know, it's no secret. I've looked up to those two guys my whole entire career, and I wouldn't, want it any other way than to be standing with two pioneers. I know that they've inspired myself, and if you look around and you look at some of the talents, no matter what companies you watch on TV, you can see little aspects, you can see little spurts of, oh man, they used to be Motor City Machine Gun fans.
I'm throwing around iconic today, but I'd say in the history of Impact Wrestling or the former TNA that the Motor City Machine Guns are an integral part of that. I think that they're dream match guys. I think the Good Brothers versus the Motor City Machine Guns is a dream match. I think the Young Bucks versus the Motor City Machine Guns is a dream match. I personally am a fan of the team, but there's only room at the top for one, so that's kind of how it goes.
Wow, legends, right? Legends. Look, when you talk about people that were paving the way for a new style, for a new generation of wrestler, Motor City Machine Guns are right there. The Motor City Machine Guns accomplished a lot of what I would have loved to accomplish if I was on TV at the time. But the enigma, the phenom known as Kenny Omega wasn't yet active on that level. I was still in Winnipeg honing my craft. I was still in Winnipeg under the tutelage of Don Callis, preparing for something much bigger. So the work that you put in 10, 20 years ago, whatever it was, Machine Guns, it's been appreciated. And you caused the birth of, geez, two of my greatest friends in wrestling, the Young Bucks. Boy, legendary feud there. But the thing is, everyone since that time has surpassed you. And I do believe that if there's a question of, do you still got it? Yeah, they still got it. That's great. They're absolutely phenomenal. They're great. Great team, legendary, that will go down in the history books as legends, people that helped architect a new style to tag team wrestling.
No, listen, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are both great young men.
I respect them.
Yep. Got a lot of respect.
Yep.
But I go back to our example.
Yep. Sure.
The insects are on the ground. Scurrying around.
Yep.
Oblivious.
Collecting crumbs.
Oblivious to what the gods are doing above.
Rich Swann. So I said Kenny Omega was the greatest pro wrestler of our generation. In my opinion, Rich Swann is probably the most underrated pro wrestler of our generation.
Rich Swann is a great world champion. Rich Swann is a great athlete. Rich Swann
He's got charisma.
He's got a big heart.
He's likable.
I even like him. I don't like many people. I like Rich Swann. Rich Swann is great. Rich Swann is amazing. But Rich Swann is not Kenny Omega.
I trust me, I know. I know. And even if the world doesn't know, unfortunately, oh boy, they're in for a wake-up call.
Are you excited though? Because you got the Impact World Champion, the AEW World Champion.
Done.
Are you excited to be face-to-face with Rich Swann?
Done.
Yeah.
I feel nothing.
I like that. I've taught you well. You don't get excited.
No.
You're just going to please Kenny Omega.
That's it.
Some people call that selfish. I call that next level.
I think Rich Swann is an incredible talent. Rich is stepping up to where the big boys play, so to speak, so I hope he knows to lace him tight, because we're coming to whip that ass.
I think Rich Swann's obviously a very talented wrestler. But like we talked about the weaknesses with the Motor City Machine Guns. Rich Swann's biggest weakness is that he's not Kenny Omega. Because Kenny Omega is the best bout machine, man. Kenny Omega is probably the best wrestler in the world.
Rich Swann is somebody that I met more recently. You know, he was at a tough point in his life when he came and started coming around Impact Wrestling, and you could see that he was down and wasn't having that pep that you were used to seeing with him. I remember him coming up and kind of asking what would be the process if I wanted to wrestle here at Impact. And the second those words came out of his mouth, I knew that we had to get him in an Impact ring, and I knew he'd love being here and we'd love having him. Rich Swann brings such an energy. If you're around Rich Swann and a smile doesn't come across your face, then there's probably something wrong with you, because he has a love and a passion for this sport and for life that is contagious. He's a pleasure to have around, and he's somebody that we're proud, very proud, to have be our Impact World Champion.
The following announcement is paid for by All Elite Wrestling.
Hey, Impact Wrestling. It's great to be here tonight via this paid ad that's allowed me to join you.
You know, one of the things that I've been getting asked about the most often is my thoughts on Tony Khan buying ad time on Impact Wrestling television. Well, the fact is, thanks, Tony. We'll take your money, have your fun, stand there with your stooge, Tony Schiavone, take your little jabs. But the fact is, we're out there doing our thing. And your guys are wanting to come compete on Impact because it's a stage where we put out some of the very best wrestling in the world. You know, and the other thing that Tony Khan did, other than live out his childhood fantasy, is in one of his little paid ads, he said,
You want Kenny Omega here wrestling your people? That's fine with me. Tomorrow night, Wednesday Night Dynamite, you're welcome to send some of your people to my show this week, any week.
Is he shooting on the? Is he shooting there?
I think that's the Shinsky, but you know we're definitely not in Nashville. The weather's a little warmer. You want to get a couple coldies in us and get ourselves warmer?
All right, TK.
Okay, TK.
Fire up the boys. We need a draft or some kind of gimmick. Hey, brother, like, TK's ready for something.
Lines have been crossed, and now worlds collide.
All the paradigms are being broken.
Impact World Champion Rich Swann joins forces with the Motor City Machine Guns to battle the World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, and AEW World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega.
Some people make matches. Other people make money. Kenny Omega makes history.
Impact Wrestling presents Hard to Kill, live on pay-per-view.
Famous Hoot, Tony Khan is a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he's put an open invite out to any Impact Wrestling talent to show up at AEW Dynamite on TNT.
You know the boys are going to answer that.
Well, it's too cold in Nashville. Look at this water.
You know, I'm a Florida guy now, but it's actually a little chilly here in Jacksonville because that's where we are.
Yeah. So, what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, it is. I'm just wearing my title on the street because I'm a champion.
That's what you do.
So why wouldn't I?
It's going to shock the rest of the world.
Do you? How's your hand?
It's got a cramp in it.
Does it?
See you there when the green light's on.
Early play, we got some time to kill.
Like you said, man, I'm never going to want to move out of Florida. Oh, I would. You pick up a residence in Jacksonville. You deal with contracts. I'm talking too great about that. You would do contracts, impact contracts, and AEW contract? Yeah, contracting as well. You talk a shop contract, maybe that's 4. Hey. You want to fight our questions? Let's go.
Oh, Hoot, I haven't seen you wound up like that in a while. I'm glad I got you out of that bar ski because we got a little business to tend to, man.
Well, that's not breaking my fight subs and knock people out all the time.
I saw that.
You know that, but you know what's most important? Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we go in, change the business again, make a moment, set the world on fire.
It's time.
When TK kept saying that we could show up anytime, the Good Brothers are going to take that opportunity.
Wait a minute, wait a minute! With that barbed wire bat! This is just tipped up!
Don go! Right to the stomach! Don Callis hit the hills after that!
Don't open the door if you don't want us to come kicking it in.
And Moxley looking to exact his revenge on Kenny Omega.
Oh my God, it's Gallows and Anderson! Gallows and Anderson! Gallows and Anderson! Gallows and Anderson are here! They don't even work here!
What is this, an impact trap?
No, it isn't! Magic, come on!
And we came and we made one hell of a statement, and we're gonna continue to do so for as long as we want.
Did you see my arm? Did you see my chest? I was bleeding. I was bleeding from the barbed wire bat. Thank God you had accepted Tony's gracious offer to have guests from Impact Wrestling be there. And look, we never told anyone that they'd be there, but I was glad that they were waiting. We knew John Moxley would be back. We knew he'd want revenge. We knew that he's petty like that. We didn't think you'd go that far, John. So thank God, Tony, that you allowed us to bring my friends from Impact Wrestling. However, if you're mad about that, you only have yourself to blame.
Be careful what you wish for. The Good Brothers are on Dynamite. Congratulations. You now have one of the very best tag teams in the world on your show.
But what these two men have done to John Moxley is unforgivable. This is a hostile takeover.
This is absolute pandemonium. Finally, yes, finally! Come on!
Young Bucks!
And this is the first time these five have been in the same ring together in years. Where do they stand?
Are we seeing the band get back together? Look at this!
Look at this!
Unbelievable.
The Bucks join! This is historic!
It's 100% a statement. If you go back and you watch the footage, you can see the aggression, you can see the anger, you can see when we get in the ring and attack John Moxley that it's a calculated beatdown. It was planned. There were steps put in place. And it was to show who in the hell Impact Wrestling is. Impact Wrestling's back on the map. And I've been saying it for a long time. If you're sleeping on Impact Wrestling, it's time to wake up.
I think the Good Brothers showing up at Slammiversary in July brought a lot of respect to Impact's name because the Good Brothers decided to come to Impact. So the Good Brothers showing up on AEW and waving that Impact flag, people understand that Impact is not just some little promotion right now. Like, Impact is here to play.
I feel like physically there's no way to really prepare for a guy like Kenny, who is a unrelentless, crazy, best belt machine, if you will. And then you got a guy like Doc Gallows, who's well over 7 feet tall, very imposing, very strong. And then you got Machine Gun, who likes to get in your head. He's very witty, very smart, and very scientifical in the ring. He's been in the business for years. You put all those three together, they're very dangerous, but you know, I got guys like Alex Shelley who's been in there. I've got Chris Sabin, myself, I'm no spring chicken, and we know that we're gonna have to go up in here ready to be giving it all we got. That's what we do.
This is huge because it's a big pay-per-view match. It's an interpromotional pay-per-view match. The world will be watching, so I think you gotta train hard, you gotta focus as much as you possibly can, and then you gotta show up and play ball because it's game day, and that's exactly what we're gonna do.
We've got the formula. We have chemistry. We have something that we've had it's lightning in a bottle, and we're about to release it into the world. Do I feel nervous? No. I'm excited, in fact, because this is something that I haven't been able to show the people for quite some time. The Good Brothers and Kenny Omega, whether you knew it or not, we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of matches against the top talent in all of Japan. Sure, people in North America haven't seen a lot of those matches, but you're about to. And you're about to see that no combination of three wrestlers are better than us in the ring. So get yourself ready, grab an apple, grab a notepad, a pen, a beverage of choice, take some notes. You're gonna learn a thing or two, trust me.
Well, mentally, watch Good Brothers and Kenny Omega matches, see how they move in the ring, and develop an attack to counter what they do. Physically, here we are. We're training. Alex Shelley and myself and Rich Swann because we want to practice and get better and show up to that match prepared. I mean, do you think the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega are getting together training in the ring right now? I highly doubt it. But us three are. And that's going to put us at an advantage.
Big LG and I will sit up the night before and probably drink. 12 to 15 cold beers and talk about how badly we're going to beat the hell out of them, while Kenny laughs about it.
There's no way to mentally or physically prepare for this. You just go in there and you accept that it's gonna be uncomfortable. You accept that it's gonna hurt, and you do your best to make sure that they feel the exact same sensations you do.
I think this Saturday, if either team wants to come out on top in the main event at Hard to Kill, they better take this match very seriously. You've got 6 of the very best professional wrestlers in the entire world in one ring. You have the Good Brothers, the Impact World Tag Team Champions, and you have Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion. You have Rich Swann, the Impact World Champion, and you have the iconic Motor City Machine Guns. And these guys better take their time. The time for boasting, it's over. The time for talking about how great you are, it's over. The time for laughs and the good fun that everybody likes to have is over. This Saturday night means business. This Saturday night is about putting on one of the greatest matches on a grand stage. This Saturday night at Hard to Kill on pay-per-view, it's about bragging rights. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers like to talk about the club, the Bullet Club. Well, they're in there and they've got a challenge from 3 of the very best in the entire wrestling world. And I, personally, can't wait to see it.
I think this is just as big as any big moment that I've ever had, if not the biggest. There's going to be a lot of eyes watching when we get in the ring with those guys, and we're just going to do the best we can and hopefully come out on top.
Like I said, it's reforming a group that I think changed the path of wrestling history. You can see their handprint across every major promotion in the world currently. So it's an integral part of my career. It's going to be a match that I think a lot of people will watch and a lot of people will remember for a long time. It's special. And anytime you get a special moment in your career, you have to grasp onto that and make it bigger than you could ever imagine.
You know, how important is this to me? This match is very important because I'll tell you now, you got a guy who's come into my company on my television program on Access TV, coming in and saying he's the real world champion. Well, everything that I've done that lets me know that I'm the real world champion.
Being able to do this with my friend, my actual brother, Kenny Omega, on Impact, at Hard to Kill, it's one of the highlights of my career.
I win 2, 3, 4, 5 matches of the year per year. I set some kind of record every year per year. A lot of those records are never broken. So for me to show up to another promotion, give them a Kenny Omega performance, it sounds like just another day. Look, it's great and I'm happy that everyone else is excited, and I'm gonna give the rub to guys like Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann. They get to see a real world champion. They get to see someone who's been world traveled and has set an example that will never be met by anyone in this age or possibly the next. So do I feel excited? No, but in a way, I'm kind of sort of excited for you fans, that you get to feel something for a change when you watch wrestling.
I mean, the way I see it with guys like Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, see, these guys have money, fame, whatever, all this stuff, those guys. And when you get to that point, you get comfortable and you rest on your laurels. Maybe you don't have to try as hard, you're not as hungry. But the thing is, us 3, we're hungry. We don't have the fame that they do, and that's fine. I don't do this for fame, but the thing is, they're gonna be resting, they're comfortable, we're hungry, and we're ready. And I think just having that extra motivation is gonna make us win.
It's a magic killer, a 1, 2, 3, and it's just too sweet. It's that same old recipe, Kenny can jump on top and cover him, I don't care. Once we hit that Miz-Kiz, it's done.
Like everybody else at those moments during the day, I pull my phone out, I flip through social media, and one of the things that I see constantly is everybody giving their prediction on who's gonna win in the main event at Hard to Kill. Is it the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, the Bullet Club? Or is it the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns? And truthfully, the most important thing to me is just that all eyes are tuned in this Saturday night, and all the people are buzzing, and that we're the talk of the industry. Impact Wrestling has came a long, long way. This Saturday night, with everybody, the entire wrestling world paying attention, we're putting 6 of the greatest professional wrestlers in the entire world in the ring, and let's give them a night that everybody will be able to forget.
Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers walk out of Hard to Kill with the win by just doing what we do best, beating the hell out of everybody that we ever see.
I would absolutely love to walk out with a victory at Hard to Kill, but that's not my MO. That's not my objective. My objective is to hurt them badly enough that they remember us.
How do we walk out with the victory? Heart, determination, skill, desire, fire. That's what we'll bring. Kenny, good brothers. Once the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann get into that ring with you, be ready to go all night long.
I see it going in a number of ways. Okay, look, you guys have seen what the Good Brothers can do on their own. They're the damn tag team champions, aren't they?
They are.
They're the gosh darn tag team champions. Sorry for my language. They're the gosh darn tag team champions. So you've got the Magic Killer waiting in the ranks. What people don't know is that we've got some triple teams that we can unleash. You've got the one-winged angel, which, jeez, no one has ever kicked out of. Not that I can remember. Do you think that if you're hit with a Magic Killer, if you kick out, if someone's able to break the pin, that you're gonna be in any shape, form, or fashion able to withstand a one-winged angel, which no one else has ever kicked out of? Are you kidding me? And it doesn't end there. Well, we've got a lot of surprises. We've got a lot of moves in our repertoire. We've got a lot of tools in our toolbox, in our tool chest. And what you guys have is something that's haphazardly thrown together, just strewn together. And you're hoping for what? A win against people that are seasoned? Against people that have went up and down the strip together, that have experienced wars and battles unlike anyone else has? You'll understand the message that I'm trying to tell the world. If you didn't get it by now, it's that no one is on my level. Any belt that I hold becomes, by proxy, the most valuable belt in all of wrestling. So Rich, best be careful how you go about the situation. Best be careful how far you want to poke your nose into this business, because it might not be a fight you're willing to end.
At the end of the day, Kenny, here's the thing. If anyone's wondering about the ending of Hard to Kill, then you really haven't been paying attention the last couple of months. We planned everything. I can tell you move for move how that match is going to go down, but I'm not going to. You're going to have to watch it. But at the end of the day, Rich Swann, amazing athlete. Motor City Machine Guns, amazing athlete.
They're great.
But there is only one, by God, Kenny Omega.
Yep. Where we differ from someone else is that we always have a plan B. We've got a plan C and we've got a plan D, and if we so need it.
Plan H is a really good one I'm excited about too.
We've got a plan for every letter in the gosh darn alphabet. And trust me, we will see one of those plans through, and none of them involve you three getting the victory over us.